Okay, this is the monthly meeting of the St. Louis Linux Users Group. It is the third Thursday of the month. This is Thursday, the 20th of June, 2024. St. Louis Linux User Group, SLUG, and our main topic, or only topic tonight, is discussion of how to upgrade our server, the SLUG server, Bach by name, and we're going to go from Debian 10 to Debian 12, and Lee's going to explain. Lee Lammert is going to lead our discussion with the help of a number of other people, we hope, of how we're going to go about doing this. A bit of a live demo. Before that, let me go through some notes and introductions. Let's see. Introductions. Our chairman of this lug is James Conroy. Let's see. Can you say hi, James? James isn't in with us yet. Okay. I'm Gary Meyer. I'm the MC. Our host is Lee Lammert. He's the principal at Omnitech. Omnitech is our wonderful sponsor who provides the virtual hardware and home for our systems.
So, and Amber Bach.
And Amber. So big thanks to Lee and his company for taking care of us for many years. Lee's also the treasurer of our organization. So, production, our executive vice president, Stan Reichert, production understates what actually goes on. There's so much stuff that happens behind the scenes as far as archiving stuff, editing stuff, recording stuff, promoting stuff. And Stan just really covered a whole lot of production issues. Thank you very much, Stan. Let's see. If someone would like to volunteer to just kind of monitor the chat, just in case Lee or I miss something in chat, it's kind of a good role just so somebody's paying attention. If somebody doesn't break in vocally, it's nice if somebody can tell us there's something waiting for us in chat. Not specifically for tonight, but long term. Topic wrangler. We could really use some help finding somebody to recruit speakers, organize speakers, get things planned out on the calendar of what's coming up, who might be available to speak on different topics, and so that would really be appreciated. And of course, speakers. We've been putting on basically 3 presentations a month. And that doesn't count our two meetings, the Slack and the other. I'll get to those in a second here coming up. But yeah, we basically need 3 people a month to do a talk, and so there's plenty of room. If you would like to talk on something, contact me or Stan, and you can send something to editor at STLLUG.org, and we'll try and get something lined up for you. With you, excuse me. Okay, announcements. 5 days from now, the 4th Tuesday, is the new Linux meeting. The rules of the new Linux meeting is whoever considers themselves the most novice user gets to ask the first question, and people work on coming up with some sort of an answer to that until that gets addressed. Then they go to the second most novice person in the room. So it's a great place for newbies, if I can use that term, to come. But also, by all means, if you're a more experienced user, you're the ones who come up with the answers, and it's really kind of fun for you too, because it's amazing sometimes how a simple question generates multiple different answers. And a lot of times, as a more experienced user, you go, I didn't remember you could do it that way, or I didn't know that. So all of us learn something, and the older people or more experienced people contribute quite a bit that way. Slack meeting is usually the first Thursday of each month. Slack is the St. Louis Area Computer Club. It's more of a hardware-oriented meeting, so yes, we'll even talk about Microsoft Windows. And like I say, more hardware, not specifically a Linux topic, but certainly Linux gets discussed a lot in the process. SLUG General Meeting is the second Wednesday of each month. That's been our monthly meeting for years. And we've got it split to a tutorial and a main topic on most months. And so yeah, it's always the second Wednesday of the month. Let's see. Anybody got any other announcements that they'd like to bring up at this point? While people are thinking, I'll just mention a couple things from the calendar. Our calendar, let's see, the I'm not giving the exact date, we'll find it. But Bob Beamer died 20 years ago. You're saying, who's Bob Beamer and why am I talking about him? Because Beamer was probably the grandfather of VI. I mean, he wrote what will look very similar to VI or Vim Editor, put that out on the GCOS operating system that General Electric was building. He was based out of Phoenix, but he was doing some work here in St. Louis before he died, and so he was in town a lot, stopped by St. Louis U and a company called Unicon here in St. Louis. And so we got to run into him a number of times. And, he's a good guy, kind of a real raconteur. He can tell you all kinds of stories. Let's see. It's the 55th anniversary somewhere here in the next 2 weeks of the unbundling of software from hardware. It was part of the IBM antitrust suit. They said, okay, we won't require you to buy the software from us. And obviously that changed the whole nature of the computer industry. The idea that you didn't have to buy software from the same companies you bought hardware was, now we presume that, but 55 years ago, that was a radical idea. The other week we had a talk about, Scott Granner was telling us about the history of computers, spent a lot of time on how Microsoft kind of became the rival to CP/M. CP/M was the operating system. It was 50 years ago, in the next couple of weeks here, that they first started work on CP/M. So it shows you how far we've come, how long this has been going on. 35 years ago was the Computer Fraud Act, federal act, and it was the first conviction actually on Computer Fraud Act. And 50th anniversary of the internet is coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So it's only been 50 years that we've been doing all this stuff. They use that as the date because UCLA put out a press release basically and called it the internet. There's great connection to computers. So that's the calendar. All the dates I just specified or mentioned are labeled there as one of the header lines where it gives either a date or a comment like 50th anniversary, 20th anniversary. Let's see, what Stan's doing there is if you go up to that upper right-hand corner, you can click and you can choose different things there. So you can say that you just want to see the groups that we sponsor. That's the red ones. Those are the STLLUG sponsored talks. Or you can click that one, and that's the talks that are here in the St. Louis area. We're trying to divide that up into what events might really be here in St. Louis versus the remote ones. Gotten a little sloppy with that right now, but we're trying to get that cleaned up and really distinguish better between out-of-town talks and local. So, and let's see, anything else I need to point out on the calendar, Stan, or jump back to the agenda? Let's see. There we go. And in July, let's see, July the 4th, first Thursday of the month. It's Independence Day, so it's a holiday. And July the 5th is the first Friday of the month. And July the 5th is the next Slack meeting. It will be held on Friday, the 5th of July. So it's a holiday weekend, so make sure you somehow fit that into your schedule. Okay, time for the call to help. Okay, help. Anybody have anything at all? Doesn't have to be apropos to tonight's talk, but just if you'd like to tell us what you've been doing or what isn't working, If anybody has any ideas of what might put you in the right direction, now's the time. Go ahead, open your mic and tell us what you're thinking, you're asking. Okay, only got a couple more seconds to think about it. I'm gonna jump back to that one last line. Go back. Okay. We also, obviously tonight's topic is we're upgrading our own box system. And it'd be nice to have some more volunteers, some other more people to actually participate in this, understand how we're doing it, and actually put fingers to keyboard and get it done. So anybody who feels motivated to volunteer, you can either voice up tonight or send an email to editor@slug.org, and we'll get you lined up with Lee and the other volunteers and try and pull this together. So,
Would anybody like to be our note taker tonight?
I can do that if you don't talk too fast.
Well, you don't need to take hard notes, but basically, if you look at the wiki, let's see, are you to it? Let's wait till Gary finishes this part, and then I'll get you set up here in a few minutes, and we can do it.
All right.
See what's going on. Okay, Gary, keep going.
okay. I already kind of described the different groups there. As I mentioned, this is actually the LUG meeting, the St. Louis Linux meeting tonight, and we try and do mostly Linux presentations on Thursday night. Every now and then we get to a new Linux user group. It's a beginner's workshop. It's not a set presentation. And the Slack, St. Louis Area Computer Club, again, it's a configuration workshop. There aren't preset topics or presentations. It's just whatever the people who come that night want to talk about, discuss, try hardware wise. So calendar, we showed you some of the stuff on the calendar. The SLUG specific meetings are in red. And if you know of any other meetings, by all means, send a note to editor@slug.org. We'd love to put things that would be of interest to our people on the calendar. And somebody jumped on there. I guess it was okay. Okay, presentation archives. We try and record all of our meetings if possible. We try and capture the slide, and we try and keep the video, and we try and keep it in archive. And you can go on the slug.org homepage or St. Louis Linux homepage, and you can see the archive and access them by clicking on the presentations there. And it's listed at the end of each of those homepages, the SLUG and the STLLUG.org homepage. And there's a sample of the URL that'll get you there. Mailing lists. We run a number of listservs, and you can sign up right there where it gives you that URL that you can sign up on. The purpose of these, each one's a little bit different. The announce, it's very limited traffic, usually doesn't come out any more than maybe twice a month. It used to come out about once a week. But it basically, the announce basically is pointing out briefly, usually, here are some things that are coming up this week. So that's the purpose of announce. Like I say, not much traffic. And you basically have to be an approved sender to send stuff out. The discuss, on the other hand, is an open general discussion, opinions, questions, blow-ups, rants, but you learn a lot. I mean, somebody asks a question, and again, it's one of those things where a lot of people may answer, or maybe only one person answers, but he's got the lucky right idea. So it's a good thing to be in. It's an email thing. Sign up for it. If you don't like it, you can drop it. And try and keep it to technical discussions. Steering committee. For those of you who don't like seeing sausage being made, we try and keep the organization of this group separate from the technical content, but we're not trying to keep it secret. So there's a steering committee mailing list where we talk about how to organize these meetings, what topics to talk about, what to do. And we also have a monthly steering committee meeting Again, not secret, you can come. And so, yeah, if you're interested in seeing the sausage, by all means, please join the stir count list. Next, call for help. Okay, before we go on, this is your last chance to ask a question. Well, not your last chance, actually, after we get done tonight. For those who aren't burned out and ready to head off, we usually wind up sticking around for a while and chatting afterwards. But do you have any call for help questions? Something that at this point in the evening you want to try and get some early voices on? Now's your time. What did you break recently? What cases you found interesting or instructive? What are you trying to do that gave you strange results? What's been surprising, unusually hard to answer? Still, nobody has a call. Okay, gonna go on. Okay, topics for this meeting, the St. Louis Linux user group meeting, the LUG. We usually try and keep it on Linux, and it frequently gets to be more advanced or detailed topics, or something that's breaking new or profound, timely. So those are the things which we hope to address on evenings like tonight. The presenter would ideally send some notes, PDFs, scripts, slides, and we'll include those in our archive. We do have some for tonight, which I think you'll be impressed with. It's a nice write-up. And the presenter may ask the audience to hold questions to the end. I think tonight, Lee, it's going to be more of a, boy, if you got a thought, just raise your meat hook and open your mic and say, hey, I've got an idea.
Amen to that.
And afterwards, after
Or you ask for it, Lee.
Anytime, Steve.
okay, and slide 13. Stan, next slide. And okay, I think I've asked for questions a couple times and not hearing any. I think I'm going to turn it over to Lee Lammert. And Lee's going to take us into the world of how to upgrade Debian 10 to eventually 12.
All right, folks. This is not a presentation. This is a working session. We have, let's see, where's my other? I forgot to log in. As we saw last time, we have a VM, which is currently running. This is the production VM on Bach. Is Bach on just on a server in the back room. And we have Bach 2. Bach 2 is a clone of Bach. They've both been updated today, and they are both current. The only thing Bach 2 is missing is about a month of history on the lists and things like that. So Bach 2 is not the target. In other words, we can't upgrade Bach 2 and then swap them because Bach 2 has not been tracking the production Bach. Rather, what our intent is to perform the upgrade on Bach 2, take good notes, which Steve is going to be doing here in a minute, and we'll set that up. And then we repeat that process with the regular Bach. That way we always have two machines running. In addition to which, let's see what's the best way to do this. In this directory on the server, this is the Bach 2 subdirectory where all the files are for Bach 2. The root partition is Bach 2, and I have BU0 as of today, 240620, 2024 06 20 today. And this is a backup clone today that I made. It's an exact backup. There would be some changes since then. It was made at 2 o'clock. Once we start working on the update, then obviously this version will be a lot more different than the clone. But worst case tonight, if we build this guy up, we throw it away and start over again. Best case, we're successful and we can take the results of the work tonight. And this is the page on the wiki. Upgrade Bach 2 clone 0. And Steve, if you would jump in here and log in, then my idea is to have you start making notes here. I'll talk about I'll talk about this link here in a minute. You know how to edit the wiki, right?
I don't think I've ever edited a wiki.
Okay, what you do is go to the link. Can you see it here? You need me to put it in chat.
Yeah, let me get logged in because I can't work on the Zoom screen. Let's see.
Because it won't be here.
Yeah. Let's see.
Where'd my chat window go? Damn it, chat. Here, I'll email it to you real quick.
Okay, I was gonna say, how do I get to Bach 2?
You don't. You go to the wiki, wiki.slug.org.
Oh, okay. And I use a browser for that. Oh, okay.
No. Oh yeah, right. I'm sorry. Duh.
Okay, what was that URL again?
I emailed it to you.
Oh, okay. Drag my email kicking and screaming. Okay, here we go.
Excuse me.
Hang on, I got
Yeah.
too many windows open. I'm going to blow this machine. It doesn't have that much. It doesn't have that much.
Steve, go ahead and clean up your environment there, and let me continue talking about the wiki. This page is on wiki.slug.org. There's a link on the first page, Bach upgrade 10 to 11. I'm not sure who put this together, but I know Mike Knight sourced most of the information in here. And we talked about this a couple months ago. The idea is to use this to record both what we should do and what we do and the results of that work. To start off with, we did start off with a comment here. Mailman 2 to 3 is going to be a major upgrade because it's a complete architecture change. I have some experience with the version of Mailman 3 from Max King as a GitHub project. It's containerized. That is one option. There are other options that we will look at, but I do know that containerized version does have a possible solution to the biggest problem we've seen so far, and that is migrating our list history into the new version. There's a lot of information in here about the current Bach, where it lives, open ports.
Oh, I'm sorry, let me go back a little bit here. So where it lives, where are you seeing where it lives?
Or how it lives, I guess.
Yep.
It's a host name is Bach. It's running on a hardware platform with Zen hypervisor, 2 CPUs, 4 gig of memory, and there's 3 partitions associated with it.
So it's not specifying the virtual partition, it's just stating how that partition is set up. Okay.
Right. Externally accessible ports, 4 primary services, primarily a web server and an email server, also includes listserv, SSHD, of course. DNS is a little bit of a misnomer. In fact, let me change it while we're here. This is the unpublished okay, but unpublished, one of the interesting tricks about the way we have this set up, thanks to Craig Buchek about 15 years ago, Bach is our DNS master. And with that master, we have, I think, 5 different slave zones. In fact, if you look at STLLUG.org, notice we have 4 published name servers, and those name servers are all at buddyns.com. Does everybody know how I got here? Any questions on that? Okay.
DNS. I think I'm lost, Lee.
Okay, where'd you get lost?
Well, I got the wiki up.
Oh, okay, forget the documentation for now.
Okay.
I'm just explaining the configuration. We don't need to document that because we haven't done anything yet.
Okay.
So at this point, all I did was I did a whois on STLLUG.
Okay.
As part of that whois information, it shows the published name servers. These are the 4 name servers for STLLUG.org. Notice that none of them are at STLLUG.org. There's 2 reasons for that. Number 1, it means that any DNS query does not go to any STLLUG server, which means that we don't have to endure whatever that traffic is or whatever attacks are propagated against STLLUG.org. Number 2, it gives us a good level of reliability. There's 4 servers out there all across the country that we don't have to manage, we don't have to pay for, or anything.
Hang on.
Except for just a small monthly fee. It works out to about, I think it's $3 a month for the service. In fact, I use it for some other projects. So that's what I mean when I say unpublished master for our STLLUG domains using named. Any questions on that?
So it's kind of a way of avoiding a denial of service attack, the type that somebody would try and take us down just by bombarding us with DNS requests.
Right, because those name servers are managed by a company that has that as their focus of business, and they are orders of magnitude more secure than anything we would want to put up, put forth the effort to expose.
They've got the capacity to look at packet requests as they
Right.
come in and say, no, you've done this 20 times in the
Right.
last 2 seconds. No.
Yeah, but BuddyNS is a secondary DNS service for thousands of domains around the world, and that's what they specialize in.
Minor nitpick.
Go.
Bach as the master name server is listed in the SOA record for the domain. So it's not a listed NS record, but it is out there. And somebody that knows how to find it can easily find it.
Okay, how would I see that?
I just ran dig space SOA space STLLUG.org. I did that. Try NS lookup. No. Hang on. No, why did dig not work for you? Dig SOA as in start of authority, SLUUG.org. That should have worked.
You don't need yeah, cause like TXT,
SOA, it is the start of authority type that we want to look for. Let me see if I can share and show.
Yeah, it works on my machine.
So you're seeing SLUG, TTL, NSOA, Fox.
wait a minute, didn't go up here. Minus type S, well, no.
Type, I'm used to needing the dash type on NS lookup. Let me see if I can share.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I paused.
Yeah. Except Zoom is being weird for me.
Hang on a second, let me make you co-host, I think.
Zoom is always weird.
Let me know when to try.
I made you co-host, but I'm not seeing, oh, wait a minute. There you go. Try it now.
Yep. No, I'm getting triangle screens, like permission or something on my end.
Isn't Zoom only one share window at a time? I know Jitsi can be multiple, but not Zoom.
Hang on. Let me try my other system, mute and try to avoid audio feedback.
Yeah, on the other one, join without audio. That's what you have to do.
All right, I'm joined from the other computer. Let me shuffle windows and try to share. Okay, can you see that screen?
Yeah,
Yep.
So Bach is not completely hidden, just mostly hidden.
okay, why is that
Can
different?
you increase the font size on that a bit, please?
He'd have to recompile, Gary.
I
Sorry.
did, but it was proportional. That any better?
Much, thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. So we can take this as a follow-up item, but just FYI, Bach is not completely hidden.
Yeah, but the only DNS it will respond to is an authorized query and transfer. Hang on a second.
Okay. I mean, you're using what I typically refer to as hidden primary, which is a
Right.
relatively common thing. You manage the DNS zones on Bach, and then the Buddy DNS does a secondary, and they do zone transfers, and they are the linebackers to the internet at large.
Right.
I do the same thing, just different provider.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just not clear as to what information SOA is giving out.
So start of authority that's, if you recall DNS zone files, you have the SOA record at the top. Bach slug org period is what's called the M name or master name server. And then the next one is the responsible person domains at slug.org. You replace the first period with an @ sign, is the email address that should be able to answer questions about that domain. And then the serial number, and you're using date-based serials, which I do as well. That's just kind of an incremental thing. Refresh interval, retry. So the 1, 2, 6 and 5 zeros is how many seconds between refreshes. So you may want to make sure you're doing notifies with Buddy DNS. The 60 is retry interval for a secondary server if it is unable to communicate with the primary, which is what's configured on the system. Then the 1209600 is how many seconds before secondary servers will consider the zone expired and stop serving if they're not able to update or check the serial of the primary. And then the 100 on the end is the negative TTL, also known as negative caching. And that's how many seconds compliant DNS servers are allowed to cache that a domain name is non-existent, like bad.bach.slug.org would be non-existent. A server can cache that non-existence for 100 seconds.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry for the diversion.
No problem.
Take it away, Lee.
That's why it's a working session. Any questions on that?
Oh, do you want me to share it again?
Well, it depends on whether they have any questions or not. Okay, cool. Let's keep going.
There's no services running on that though, right? There's nothing, there's no ports open on Bach.
Email, web.
SSH, web, ADN 443, email, secure email, TLS.
I just tried web, bach.slug.org and nothing comes up. It says invalid host or something.
That's because bach.slug.org is a host name, not a domain name. If you go to slug.org, it will resolve to a virtual host for slug.org. If you go to STLLUG.org, it'll resolve to a host for STLLUG.org, etc. That makes sense?
Well, and your invalid host, it's actually a web page that is returning text saying bad host name. So you're actually connecting, speaking HTTP, and getting a textual page back that has a please go away message.
Wait a minute, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I'm seeing somebody that has 5 tabs open and just went to Boxslug.
Okay, okay. Because I lost my green highlight around it showing what I'm sharing.
Yeah.
Zoom, I don't understand why Zoom can't be simpler, but anyway. So here's what the question was. When you go to bach.slug.org, you get a blank web page with an invalid host. And that is because bach.slug.org is not a website hosted on slug.org. So if you go to bach.slug.org, which has a specific IP and 8 or 10 different virtual hosts, Apache virtual hosts on it, and you don't hit one of those, you get a page that says invalid host.
So that's what Apache would refer to as the default virtual host.
Right. And we don't need to get into that configuration because it's pretty messy. Believe me, I've looked at it many times trying to fix things.
Let's talk about it later. Normally on the defaults, I do a redirect back to the primary, but that's another time.
Yeah, but there is no primary.
I'm calling the primary as slug.org.
Right,
Like,
but they're not subdomains. They are all separate domains. You know, slug.org, STLLUG.org, et cetera, et cetera. You know, it's not like a company where you've got 18 divisions, and if you
right.
have a bad link, it takes you back to the main site.
Let me rephrase. I view all incoming connections, if they're to the default name-based virtual host, you can redirect it where you want to something more graceful. You know, you could redirect it to www.slug.org.
Yeah. Okay.
That's layer 7 application configuration. And yes, Apache can be complicated.
Very true. All right, so those are the 4 external servers. Well, let me reload that. I changed the other version, didn't reload. And box specific, you know, we have a pretty good job of compiling a bunch of information here. Let me point out one thing that I found last month. I've got a firewall machine here in the shop. I rebuilt it last fall. And for some reason, which was totally obtuse to me at the time, the IP table set that was running it would not work. And I couldn't figure out why for the life of me. So I just ran with the default. It turns out there was a routing issue that was broken. And you know, the IP tables that we put together, Chuck helped me out about 7 or 8 years ago with it. Worked fine, but I couldn't get it working in Firewall D. And when I saw this comment here, it made me realize that the final, even though Firewall D would work 80% of the task, would perform 80% of the task, it could not deal with a DMZ with a separate subnet. The DMZ was a public subnet, the internal was a private subnet, and the default route was a second public IP. It's probably an issue that could be solved, but accidentally, I got the, or not accidentally, but I had this bright idea one night after I've been troubleshooting it. I wonder if Firewall D is running when I load the IP tables. And so I physically shut off Firewall D, loaded those IP tables, and it worked. There are some issues that we need to resolve. Conclusion being, there are some issues we need to look at here in depth, because Firewall D, while it has a number of advantages, it also has some things that can drive you crazy. And I have a feeling that trying to add UFW to add some filters on the firewall didn't work because of a problem just like that. So before we go start playing with Firewall D going forward, we need to decide if we're going to use a separate program or we're going to use Firewall D. And complicating that is the fact that fail to ban is there
Gesundheit.
Let's see.
Was that audio from?
Sorry, I had to mute somebody there. Background noise. I think it was Dave. All right, so that's the caution on. Where's all the noise coming from?
Ron BC, maybe. You might have to mute him.
I too, and I'm gonna mute everybody right now. If you have a question, let's see, would somebody watch chat and let me know if there's something in chat?
I'll watch.
Okay, thanks.
I'll toss out there that I would probably recommend whatever long-term support firewall will be in Debian 11 and particularly in Debian 12. You know, they might be migrating from UFW to firewall D. So perhaps we could make it work on 11 when we get the upgrade, but it may become another mailman type problem. We may be better off recreating the firewall rule set and whatever Debian's go forward solution is.
I suspect it's firewall D, but we can.
It's the net filter, right? Is that firewall D or is that?
Well, NetFilter is the in-kernel filtering technology. Firewall D in UFW and fail2ban are user space processes for managing firewall. There's NetFilter and BPF.
So they're like front ends for either
Yes.
net filter or IP tables.
Yep.
But the thing that really surprised me is the fact that you can have an IP tables rule set, and you can also have a set of firewall D rules, and in some cases they do not work together.
Yeah, because it's almost certainly IP tables in kernel and firewall D and UFW and G Shield and pick your front end are all trying to manipulate what's in kernel, and they don't necessarily have knowledge of each other, and good luck getting everything to work.
Right.
So it's better to just do a clean break from IP tables to firewall D.
That's my initial assumption right now. So as we get into it, we will start through it. And Steve, I think a lot of that noise is yours, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute you here. All right.
Lee, I've been muted for the last couple of minutes. I muted myself.
Yeah, but you're still causing a lot of noise.
Kind of noise.
Well, you're not muted right now. I'm gonna mute you.
No.
Okay. I'm gonna skip on down here so we can keep going. If anybody wants to take a look, there is a ton of notes here that Mike put together, and it's very informative. There's a lot of stuff on Bach too that is not standard on Debian 11. Some of it's been installed. A lot of it has probably been brought forth from Debian, 6, I think, was the first version we had on here. And the stuff just doesn't die. Or doesn't get purged. You know, like we've got some old PHP 7 where 7.4 is now. I mean, anyway. Postfix admin. Now that could be a problem. Grant, have you ever seen anything similar to Postfix admin out there?
Yes, I'm trying to remember. VirtualMin has some options for managing postfix. but I believe I've gotten postfix admin running on 11.
Oh, it'll probably run on 11, but the issue is it's not so, there's no package for it anymore. Anyway, that's one issue we need to address.
I kind of flap my lips and think, so what?
Did you check backports?
No. The question was, it's does not appear to be mainstream in Debian 11 anymore. And that is the only tool I have seen that allows you to manage multiple domains on a single postfix instance. And in fact, we actually developed a hook where we can tell postfix admin where to deliver the domain or an individual email account's email. No, I'm sorry, an individual domain's email. So if you have users on one domain, they go to mail 1, another domain goes to mail 2, another domain goes to mail 3, and that configuration is kept in the database along with the postfix admin, the rest of postfix admin data. And that kind of information, Webalizer, yeah. Anyway, Webalizer. So here's the plan that we started with. There's all kinds of references down here. Step 2, create a clone we have. Step 3, which is what we're going to do tonight. And at that point, we can either repeat those, we will probably repeat those steps on Bach, just to upgrade Bach to 11, so it's got another 2 years. And then we can handle the Debian 11 to Debian 12 in the near future, hopefully, and work on some of the problems that we do have with Mailman and anything else critical here that does fall out. So, Steve, can you go ahead and jump back in? I want to get you started here on.
I just muted myself and restart the device.
You got a bad connection on your mic or something. There's all kinds of static.
That's what the noise was, his mic line.
1 by 5, if that.
It's all noise, Steve. No luck.
Now you're dead silent, Steve. It really sounds like you got a bad cord on the microphone. And now it's making static.
Now you got static. But no. Nah, it's unintelligible. Crap.
Hey, Steve, can you, if you have questions or something, can you put them in the chat and I will relay them to the audio?
Okay. So to start off with, there is a all-encompassing upgrade procedure. Upgrades from Buster, Chapter 4. This is.
By the way, just clarifying that upgrades from Buster means upgrades from Debian 10, and the nickname for Debian 10 is Buster for those people who don't like numbers for releases and want names. I'm the other side. I find the names confusing, and I like numbers, but
Yeah.
To each their own.
Of course, Debian's been around longer than the vast majority of distros, so that was probably from the days when you couldn't count about 5. All right, for anybody interested in doing this for work, or when you have an environment that is risky in terms of breaking something and taking down services and costing people money. I would certainly encourage you to go through this step by step. If nothing else, it gives you a good documentation of each step that you've done and the results, and you have a good procedure to follow. In my case,
I'm gonna ask or make a
Yeah.
point, ask a question. I think Mike is the one who dug that up and made it available. Do we know where Mike got that?
it's the standard Debian stuff. It's from the Debian releases Bullseye, which is 11, I believe.
So that's provided by Debian. It's out on their site.
Right. And I'll put the link I'll put the link in chat here, although it's on the wiki. And yeah, if anybody wants it, you can just go to the wiki and follow along. So where I was going,
Put a link in the chat to make it easy for people to jump to.
Sure, that sounds good.
if I can find the chat window.
I think Grant was saying he could do that.
I can try and find it and put my.
Oh, hang on a second. If I can find it, if I can. God damn it. If I share a monitor, now I don't have a control bar.
Ron, there should be something like the do release update command. We're just playing it safe and making sure we have all our ducks in a row before we pull that trigger.
Okay.
Yeah, it probably, if everything goes well, would be done by now as well. This is Unix Graybeard's kibitzing.
Yeah. I just threw a link in chat to that page if anybody wants to follow along.
Thank you, Lee.
All right. So where I was going is I tend to just do a quick search. Hello. I'll give me a break. Zoom, what? What the hell's going on?
That looks like Firefox is messing with you.
Oh, it's Zoom. There's nothing wrong with Firefox. Zoom has got the freaking machine locked up.
Do you want me to stop the presentation for a moment and you take it back?
No, I got it. So what I tend to do is there's some other good websites out there like Linux Eyes and some others that have simpler procedures. You know, obviously there's an issue backing up your data, but you don't need to spend 3 days doing it if you clone the machine. And the whole point of doing it the way that we have it mapped out is so that we can perfect the procedure on Bach 2. And once it's perfected, we know what we're doing when we can take Bach down for a few hours and apply it there. So the first thing we want to do is jump into Bach 2. I like to use tmux, separate presentation. And at that point, by the way, my personal modus operandi, again, since I'm the only admin around, you know, I'm not really, we don't have 18 different people to keep track of that are sudo on the root. So you want them to run the sudo command so it gets logged under individually. I don't have those kind of issues. I just jump straight into root. And when I'm on a machine, and what I do is I keep a tmux session open on any machine I admin. So if I want to go back there, all I have to do is SSH to the machine, And I have an alias called Tango X-Ray for Zoom TMUX session. And I can jump back in from an Android tablet or whatever with a limited keyboard. So what?
Quick-
Go ahead.
when you're done, quick interjection, Steve, if you would, please, on the notes, let's talk about a backup MX mail relay for when we take Bach 2 down. We can discuss that more on mailing list, but please add it to the notes.
Good point.
Thank you.
Can you hear me at all now?
Wonderfully clear, 5x5, sir.
Really?
Excellent. Excellent.
I dumped Zoom and restarted it.
Well, I wish there was a better solution out there, but we haven't seen one, and Jitsi can be so finicky on different machines. I don't know.
Well, this is like the most problem I've had with Zoom. Zoom doesn't give me a hard time usually.
Well, it could be traffic, Steve. I mean, you're out there in the boonies on a cell connection, so
Yeah, it could be.
it could be you got enough sucking up your bandwidth.
I don't know. I could go look at my bandwidth, but every time I look at my bandwidth, there's not much going on.
You sound great right now, so I wouldn't look that gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I can take some notes if we want. I got the wiki pulled up and stuff, but Lee, is there any way you could do that TMX session where I could join into it so I can copy the commands you're running into the notes?
You'd have to sudo to me LVL on Bach, or Bach 2, and then you can do Tango X-Ray or TMUX -- attach.
So I'm on Bach 2 as me. I don't think I can sudo though. Oh, I can sudo. Okay, so you said sudo
Space SU space minus space LVL.
Okay. And then TMUX attach.
Or just do a Tango X-Ray.
Oh, TX. Okay. Okay, and now I should be able to copy. Yeah, okay. So I can copy the things that you're typing in and put them in the wiki. So I'll do that.
Cool.
I like it. Smarter, not harder.
Okay, so next step. App mark show hold if to show any packages that are held back. And there are none. So the next thing we want to do is a standard update and upgrade.
Lee?
Yeah.
I'm still screwing around with this cataract surgery, and I can't really see effectively.
Is that
Who is that
font
just?
not big enough for you?
Pardon?
Is the font not big enough for you?
It's no, the font is fine. It's just that my eyes kind of fade in and out. When you get this done, there's about a month where they don't want to do anything because the eyes change. It's like I used to have computer glasses at work. Now they don't work.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I think we got you covered for tonight. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think maybe I'd love to help with this project, but I can't. This just isn't effective.
Yeah, no worries.
I think Sean's tapping in, and I think we're good.
Yeah.
Who's actually taking notes right now?
Sean.
Oh, okay. It's not like I have any idea what's going on.
I've taken one note, so we might want to go a little faster.
Well, you need 2 for it to be plural.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't have to do a full upgrade. Let's also run an auto remove.
And what does auto remove do?
Nothing,
Nothing. And why would we do it?
because that's a backup. We want to make sure there isn't any cruft out there that we should remove. So the next thing we need to do is look at our sources.list. And let's see, we're changing from Buster to Bullseye.
You can just do a sed and replace. But you do you.
You can use percent for the entire file. $%S.
Like so.
Yep.
And we have
So you did sources list itself. What about any .list files in the sources list.d directory?
oh,
Okay,
don't have any.
fair enough.
Manual we don't need. English only. I don't think we need that. So now we do another update with our new sources list. And this is going to be a little more involved, because at this point we are pulling the packages that we have refreshed all the repos, and we are now looking at the Bullseye repos.
Go back a moment, please.
Yeah.
Looking at the 404 for Debian security Bullseye and Alts, is that the same one that's complaining the error down below?
Can't be done securely.
Does not have a release.
That's interesting.
Try changing HTTP to HTTPS. For security.
Which one was that?
Next set up.
Here?
Nope, one more.
One more step.
Oh, here it is.
There you go.
Okay.
Hang on, go back. You got the source, you want to do the deb itself up one line. There you go. Now try your apt update again.
Good eyes, Grant.
Well, it looks better. Not found, but does
Not-
anybody have a Debian 11 system handy to check that, or a sources list builder for Debian 11? I can search for that.
I've got a bunch of 11s, but they're all Raspbian. That's the simplest one to get to.
That Linux Eyes site that you've been referencing has a sources list file, I think.
This, well, that's from, well,
Damn. What the is with?
you need to drop and come back.
No,
Work for me.
it's a no, it's a Firefox thing. It won't. Firefox is not. Zoom does not like me wanting to talk to Firefox.
Is this by chance like hardware rendering? Firefox is trying to use that and Zoom can't capture that?
No idea.
Okay, so I think so. I'm comparing what's in our sources.list with what's on the linuxeyes.com link. And the difference appears to be the ending. So in ours, we have Bullseye / something updates. And in the Linux Eyes one, they have Bullseye - security. That's the main difference I see.
Now, is that the second part? Because we have Debian, or you say Bullseye security or Debian security?
Yeah, so it's Debian - security and then a space, and then it's Bullseye - security, and there's no more / updates.
There's no / updates.
No / updates, yeah. And then space main. So just like that. So that's what's on the Linux Eyes site. So hopefully that'll.
And it also matches the Bullseye update below. Hey, that looks better.
Bingo.
Sean, scribe that you are, please.
I am.
700 packages. That's going to be a while.
And this is why we do what I consider dry runs, to figure out things like this.
Do we see how many bytes it's going to require? Usually lists that, right?
No, 2 gigabytes so far. Oh no, 2 gig per second. What?
2 megabytes per second.
That's 2000 megabits or 2000 kilobytes. Yeah. So yeah, all right. 2 megabytes. You're right.
What was our count originally? Anybody remember?
700 packages.
700. Okay, so 175. That's gonna take a while.
So is this intermission where we get up and go inspect some plumbing?
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Come on.
Do we have
Hey.
popcorn?
Sure.
Sure.
How about beer?
Got some upstairs if somebody wants it.
Yeah, but take an hour to get there.
Well, there's that.
I wouldn't have a cold beer. It wouldn't be cold by the time it got there.
I got a couple of golden lights left. Actually, that's not my favorite beer. I don't care for light beer. I like a much darker German style, something that's got a little body to it.
Was our discussion earlier in chat about amber and Bach, and this is why we don't have systems called golden and light.
Interesting. We didn't get a question like this, or is that coming up next?
You're doing your apt upgrade, so it's pulling things in right now. I'm expecting we're going to get that.
So you have to do both. You have to do apt upgrade and apt full upgrade.
Yeah,
Sure.
full upgrades next down here.
So you do have to do both though. That's
Yeah,
Like-
you got to bring the existing one completely up to date. Then you can do the full upgrade.
Yeah.
At least that's the way it works on Ubuntu, and it looks like it's very similar since Ubuntu is based on Debian.
Right. That's too friggin' complicated. All I do is a zipper update on SUSE, and come back or just let it run in the background.
Did you see that for Leap, this is like the last release of Leap before they move it to like an immutable distro? Did you see that?
Nope, 15.6 is Immutable is a separate distro.
No, I don't think that's. I think for Leap, I'm talking just about Leap. But what I saw was this is the last release of Leap before they move it to an immutable. I think it's not going to be separate anymore, is what I read.
What's an immutable release? Yeah.
There's a
Well,
lot. There's a lot of ways to do it, but they're probably going to use something like RPM OS tree, is my guess. And basically, it makes it so the root of your basically OS is not modifiable, and it just does like similar to Docker containers. It like creates basically image layers that build up and make your OS. It's like like that's what like Fedora Silverblue and some other distros do a similar thing. And I think SUSE's kind of following the trend now.
Isn't the Chromebooks, don't the Chromebooks do something similar? They download the new image and then boot to the new image.
Yeah, hey, just so you know, I think it stopped at waiting for us for something there. Lee, if you can go back to the terminal.
They're going to the lobby.
I remember seeing that in a drive-in when my parents took us to see a movie back in the 50s. You realize how long ago that was?
Oh, it just popped up the changes file.
Yeah, automatically remove unused kernels on.
What's the name of this file? Where is it located?
Well, this is apt, and we got Apache 2 up here.
Do a Control G.
There you go.
That's maybe a temporary file.
Yeah, /temp apt list changes.
Meow.
Oh, no, never mind. Is that white?
You want to copy that file to your home directory, Lee?
Yeah, I can do that.
Or var temp should be non-volatile.
Isn't it in USR / something?
Hang on a second. Everybody catch a path here?
In your prompt.
Well, so this is where I'm going to put 10 of these temp files from tonight. Okay.
Control G again. I want to see how many lines it was.
440.
No, that's the size or what's showing on screen. No, you're right. I'm misinterpreting.
Yeah, I'm looking at 378 to 406 out of 440. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, while he's cooking. Let's see, calendar, we may have to deal with that.
This looks like this is going to take a while.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we're doing a full OS update, so it's not upgrade between major versions. This is not just monthly updates. This is what, every 3 to 5 years?
Now you're actually running this at your house, Lee. So you've got you're downloading over your network, right?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, hey, I got something we can do while we wait. You guys want to play with Copilot while we wait? Because it has this terminal feature to where it can tell you how to do commands. You want to play with it since we're on 6%?
Sure.
I thought we were friends.
All right, here we go. So I just installed this. I've never used it before. I just installed this morning, but like literally started this meeting. But remember back here when we were trying to figure out the SOA record of STLLUG.org? So what I did was I typed gh copilot suggest, and if I do that, it'll like suggest a command is what it's for. And so I picked a generic shell command, and what it said was dig SOA STLLUG.org, which then I selected the option to copy that to my clipboard, and then I pasted it, and it worked. So let's ask it something about Debian upgrades. Let's do explain. What does apt is it a full upgrade? Was it apt full upgrade command do? The apt full upgrade command is used to upgrade packages on a Debian-based system. It performs a full upgrade by installing the newest versions of all installed packages, removes any obsolete packages, handles dependencies. It may install or remove additional packages to complete the upgrade process.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit more aggressive than just app upgrade.
My understanding, it isn't full upgrade what you use to go between major versions, while update is confined to be within major versions.
Yeah, that's about the way I remember it.
It's even point releases though, you have to use full upgrade.
That surprises me.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff in Debian that isn't, the same.
Yeah, I usually can't get a better kernel until I do a full upgrade.
Yeah.
I'll stick with Gen 2.
All right. Let me jump back here because we got some questions to answer. I want to show people.
All right.
The answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Not necessarily in that order.
Okay, during the upgrade process, you will receive possibly some configuration questions. For example, services to restart PAM library upgrade, cron ATD. Anything else we need to add on here? Normally, I wouldn't think so, but Grant, you ever seen something like this?
Yeah. In concept, not this actual thing. So I'm not at all surprised. It's changing out the PAM backend library. So anything that was using it should be reloaded or restarted to use the new version of the backend library. Makes sense to me. I'm kind of surprised there aren't more things, but I'm also not too terribly worried because a full system reboot is in our future, which accomplishes the same goal.
Got it. All right, anybody else have any questions? So we're about 20%. Okay, Sean, you want to grab it back and we can take a look at Copilot more till we hit another stopping point?
Yes. We need some things to tell it to try. Did anybody do anything interesting on the command line today? I mean, I didn't, but let's see. Like suggest a command.
Ask it how to sniff traffic on the network. Sniff DNS traffic.
I'm gonna choose generic shell command. Suggestion, not okay, so monitor DNS traffic coming into a machine. Suggestion not readily available. Let's see. So monitor. Okay, so here I'll try create TCP dump of incoming network traffic. Okay.
Explain.
Yeah, let's explain. So it says sudo TCP. So when I use the word TCP dump, then all of a sudden it understood a bit better. And it's just, I guess it's just assuming what my network device is here. Okay, when I said explain, it explained what sudo is, so that seems great. TCP dump is a command line packet analyzer tool. eth0 specifies the network interface to capture. W capture pcap specifies the output file name for the captured packet.
All right. So I feel like that's a bit of a hallucination, and don't exit yet. Ask it how to do it on a different interface and show it on screen.
Okay. Show the wait. So you want us to change the interface?
No, create TCP dump of incoming network traffic on ETH3. Basically modify your previous prompt.
Yeah, so I think I would say, okay, so change the command to monitor ETH3 instead of ETH0 and
Display on screen.
on screen. -n. Oh, I don't know what the -n does.
Numeric, ask it, what does -n do? It's
Well, let's have it, it'll explain it.
Wow.
-n disables the conversion of network addresses to host names. So it'll display the IP addresses. Well, I guess that will display it. So that doesn't put it to a file anymore.
Right, but why did it add -n for this command when it did not provide -n in the previous command?
Right. Let's see, we could revise it some more. So let's see. What
Only DNS traffic.
oh yeah, filter down to only DNS. Nope, not readily available. It won't do that. It just refuses to care about that. Let me try again. Show only
Port
traffic
53.
on port 53. Okay, so it can do that. Show only DNS traffic. Okay, so it did that too. I assume that'll work. Is that how you do any? So now it changed it to any interface too. So it modified that.
Yeah,
And then
and
it did.
if this was a student of mine, I'd say, why did you use any?
Right. Okay.
Sorry, Sean, I don't mean to sound like I'm belittling what you're doing. What you're
No, I'm not doing anything. I'm just asking an AI what to do. Let's do that.
belittling the AI.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not doing nothing. Okay. Let's try again. Let's do okay. Let's do what we just did. Let's see how okay, so change sources dot list file from it was Buster to what was it again?
Or just
I
say
think-
from Debian
I think
10
you
to
spelled
Debian
Buster
11.
wrong.
That's right. Yeah, Bullseye is right.
Okay, let's do this and then I'll do the other one. Okay, so it's using sed with the dash I. So that seems good. I think that would work.
Well, how would you add with backup?
Okay, hold on. Let me try the 10 to 11 thing first. So 10 to 11, it couldn't do that. Okay, so now you want me to do the same thing.
You didn't tell it was Debian.
What? What?
You said just change sources. You did.
Oh yeah, that's
Doesn't
not.
say-
Yeah, you're good. Good point. Sources from Debian 10 to Debian 11.
the same thing.
I figured it out. Yeah, I busted a bullseye. That seems accurate.
Or if you want to be a real dastardly deed, tell it Ubuntu that is the next version. And I've seen people do those conversions.
Take a backup of the sources.list file before modifying it. Oh, so it just does the copy command.
Change your prompt to
I'm gonna exit.
instead make a backup.
So I'm gonna do I'm gonna say make a backup of the sources.list file, then change the sources from Debian 10. Change these. Let's try it. Let's see what it does.
And yeah, it is. You can add a suffix after the dash I and said makes a backup in process.
Okay, hold on. Can the backup be made using sed? Nope, it doesn't know that. Hold on. So, okay, so I'm just gonna try more generically. Modify a file with sed and make a sed, but make a backup.
Modify a file with said while making a backup. There, sure, yes.
Okay, cool.
It seems like you'd have to know the command already to tell it what command to give it to you.
That's true, yeah. But you know, a lot of times if you forget like the little syntax things, I think this could be a little bit helpful. But yeah, you definitely have to know what you're doing, or else how do you know any of this is right, you know?
Ah, yeah, but I feel like you're going to have to sanity check to make sure there aren't hallucinations. And for you to be able to do that, you're going to remember what you want. Whereas if you just use man on sed and search for backup, it's right there.
Yeah.
It didn't add the G either, so it's not global. But we didn't tell it to make a global change. So.
Yeah, true. I'm surprised it did okay, so it did the and here. I wanted to do a pipe. What's something that they would have to pipe? Oh, also let's check on our okay, yeah, we're at 52%, so still got time to kill. What's something that okay, so let's say what about getting the IP address? Get the IP address of a Debian system. Because I feel like you'd have to pipe. Okay, here we go. IP grep. What the heck? Oh, it's cutting out. It's cutting out the localhost one. I want to see if I can run this. I'm not on Debian. I'm on Ubuntu, but Let's see.
Based on Debian.
Valid to me.
Yeah.
It's presuming you want to remove localhost. And wow.
What?
First of all, your grep and cut could be collapsed into the awk, so there's 2 strokes for Vim Golf.
Oh, yeah, no.
The first grep could also be included in the awk.
Oh, well, you could write, yeah, I mean, you could write a whole operating system in awk or something, but nobody's gonna do that. This is exactly how I do it,
You
okay?
say nobody's going to do that, but I do things like that weekly.
Yeah, yeah, and you have to, or else you're gonna forget the awk syntax. Then you're gonna be doing this like I would, grep, cut.
Well, ask it. Tell it to use only awk and not grep.
Okay, okay. Using only awk.
And what's wrong with ipadder show? Just the base command with 1 awk.
Hold on. Okay, so it worked.
Yeah, but it included loopback this time and it did not before.
Yeah. But you'll never want that, right? You're never gonna, if you're asking a system for the IP address, you never want the loop back. I mean, I can't think of a reason why you would want that.
I have wanted it multiple times.
Well, can't you just hard code it as, oh, whatever.
No, I've been on systems. You can really mess with Linux
What the heck is this now?
if you shut down ipadder inet print 2, awk print 1. That's going to be run your ipadder show just by itself. And it's searching for
How's that different than IPA? Okay, so I just type IPA and it's the same thing as that.
searching for inet, getting one. So it's taking, yeah, there's your 10, 255, 255, 254. So there you've got an IP address on loopback. So it's excluding one address on the loopback, but reporting other addresses on the loopback.
Let's try to have it explain this.
What are you in, Sean, that you have that 10 dot address on the loopback?
Hold on a second. This, I don't know if it's gonna work.
Wow.
Okay. I'm just on WSL.
Okay.
Okay, so we got show is used to, so it says IP at a show is used to display network interfaces and their addresses. The first awk filters out the output and prints lines containing inet. Oh, so that's a regular expression. Awk-f slash print with nothing after it. Further filters the output and prints the fields before the slash character. Okay, see, I learned something there. I didn't realize that's what that did. Or well, I might have knew it at one point, but I haven't used awk in a long time.
That is a hack. It's literally awk by default does not print field separators, so it's specifying the field separator as the slash, and then it's printing things without the field separators.
And then NR2 selects the second line. Okay, we are at 85%, boys. We are cooking. All right, oops. Okay.
If that was a student of mine, I would have some conversations.
Do you teach? Where do you teach at?
Here, right now.
Oh.
Mailing lists, news groups, IRC, you name it, but not great coding style. A lot of assumptions are made there.
Oh, wait, suggest.
Not the least of which that command showed an address on the loopback and did not show the address on your Ether interface.
Easy. All right. What are we at now? We're at 90. So maybe it's probably going to be done pretty quick. So why don't we switch back over? Because it's at 90% right now. So
Lee, wake up.
I'm watching. We got a question there.
Where was the question? I didn't see it.
it just popped. Something about app armor.
It just popped. Here. I got the bigger text for people.
Yeah.
Modified by you, updated version. So basically we want to keep our currently installed version, which is,
Will you show the differences?
well, we got one for app armor here.
No, I meant the differences in the config file. Scroll down a little bit more. Yeah, that's what I was. And my dog's coming. So you've added write ability, and it wants to remove write to Etsy bind. And it wants to remove read write from var named and remove read write from run bind. I guess it's anticipating zones will be in a different directory. I would keep your version because your config file is going to be based on that.
That's such a weird UX there. It's like you can type in or O, whatever you feel like. It's like,
Yeah, it's yes or no, and it's either install or old, I'm guessing.
Typing in and O, but nothing advances. So I guess I'll have to take default. And I still don't get anything.
I'm gonna try. Nope, nothing. Nothing on my TMX either.
It's back on progress, it looks like, right? No?
Jump, just detach for a second, Sean. Control B is in Bravo and D for detach.
Yeah, hold on, that didn't work. Sorry, that's not working.
I
Oh, I got it. You want me to do it?
got it in.
Okay.
Yeah, now we got it.
What changed?
Well, I hit Control C on my end, so I might have been messing things up.
Yeah, it was Sean's fault.
Yeah.
What are the differences in the syscontrol file? Oh boy.
Comments, we don't care. Comments are okay. We got here.
It's changing comments. Okay, scroll down.
We got a bitmask comment added here. And some tweaks there. Taking out all protected links.
But these are all these lines are commented out though, right? So
Not the next one
There-
down. Oh,
there's-
yeah,
There's
comments.
2 comments added here. It's taken out this whole section in here.
Kernel sysrec, when it's adding a kernel sysrec 438.
Why is there a minus sign in front of that pound sign all the time?
That's an aspect or artifact of the difference engine that's being used. It wants to remove the lines
Oh.
that start with a minus, and it wants to add lines.
So this file is edited though, or is it the default from Debian 10 and it's it's just doing changes to make it default to Debian 11. Or was this file edited in some way that,
Well,
that
the
there is a
next
change in there, that there is a user or admin change in there?
Well, the
'Cause
net,
it looks, yeah, it just looks like it's just all comments, right?
no, the net IPv6 conf all disable IPv6. That is probably something somebody explicitly added to disable.
Okay, so that's triggered it, that triggered that thing.
Well, this is something we added 7 years ago when we built it originally, because we don't use IPv6 here in the shop.
Right.
So it's taking that, it wants to take that out.
Are you at the bottom? Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Can you exit out and actually, is there a way to edit, or do we want to diff it again? Let Sean copy that to the notes that we want to re-add that syscontrol later on. And then just take the new file. Does that make sense? Sean, you want to grab that?
Yeah,
I already got it.
Okay, cool.
let's see.
But I mean, is it really that important to take these new comments though? I don't really see the importance of that. I mean, most people are going to read these.
I tend to agree with Steve of it's probably the differences between versions, and I think it'd be better to go with the new one instead of having some cruft from Debian 10.
Well, the only thing that is actually a change here to remove, that he wants to remove, is
Right.
disable IPv6.
Yes, but I'm thinking about if we come back to this file, barring this process, come back to it 9 months from now and look at it, and it's still basically Debian 10 comments, it could mislead something.
Yeah, the comments are outdated, yeah.
Oh crap, I don't know if I can do that.
Try editing at, yeah, at syscontrol.conf. Okay, so there's probably another file. What is so
Doesn't it automatically make a backup of the original?
Yeah, that's no problem. Okay, yeah, this is the only line that affects anything.
yeah.
So what I can do is copy syscontrol conf 620. Okay, Tony, this goes to your point. I'll just grab a copy of it, and we've got it in the notes anyway, right? So here is the copy. Here is the new, and here is the old.
That new one is from 2021. I don't know how new it is anymore.
Good
Other
point.
than the default from 2018.
Yeah.
BC or AD?
Did
Yeah.
you do this last time when you went to Debian 10? Did you upgrade in place from 9 or 8 or something?
All upgrades have been in place since we built it in 2007 or 7 or 8 years ago. All right, keep on. So we're going to,
Yes, install the package maintainer version is my vote.
we can always grab that line if we want.
Correct. And I think I asked Sean to add that as an AI action item.
That's what I was thinking this whole time. I'm like, you guys want these comments? I mean, look, the AI is going to be administering the system by the time we need to look at this again. It'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Spam assassin init.pre.
Oh,
Is there an AI religion that John has joined?
let's see the differences.
I did a D and it gave me this. I am going to keep our old version.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
Same with spam assassin local. Same would be for 342 because A, I don't know anything about spam assassin, and B, Mike is the only guy that has configured this, and I trust his knowledge more than I trust the upgrades knowledge.
Yeah. I've been running Spam Assassin for more than 2 decades. 15 years.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if every file that we kept, there now is a backup there of the one that the upgrade wanted to install. So
Yeah, there's probably .dpackage-new or something.
right.
Oh, let's see what differences it wants to make to a very sacred file to me. I don't, the port line you care about.
Why is he taking? Well, these are all commented anyway. Oh, he's just looking to the stable RSA. I'm assuming.
Well, you get into what is RSA, and there's a whole bunch of different things that have RSA associated with them that are not necessarily what you want. Your port 2206, you want to keep.
Why would he be taking out the option to specify protocol?
Well, that's a comment. It's no longer in the default file.
No, what I'm saying is, why would he?
Probably because the newer versions no longer support SSH version 1, so specifying it is redundant.
Okay, so it's actually not changing any active line except port 2206.
It is adding an include line towards the top.
Here we go. Yeah, SSHD star.com.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I think the biggest thing is you could use the new one and you're just going to need to change your port.
And don't restart the service, or else we're gonna get kicked out.
Yeah, you're gonna be locked out, right? Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, isn't there?
Well, I got a solution.
Actually, you can start a shell and you
Hang
can
on. I want to install it.
So assuming that you have console access to the VM if you needed it.
Well, that's interesting. Yes, I do.
Scroll to the top and see if the include line is there.
It's not. So it hasn't physically replaced the file yet.
Oh, there it just did.
Well, heck, we just went through this.
Wait, is this was the other one SSH conf and this one's SSHD conf?
No, the other was SSHD.
Show the differences.
Hang on a second. Yeah.
I, I think
You-
it was SSH conf before.
I think it's the same file.
The same file. Because it was SSHD here when I edited it. Unless it was showing us SSH.
No, it was SSHD because it was. Why would you specify a port in SSH conf?
Because that's the default port it uses when you SSH out.
Have you modified? So it's the client config. Have you modified the client config to automatically default to going to port 2206 or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's SSH underscore config. Because that is, I just put the line back in here. Although we really probably don't need it here because you're going 99.99% of the time, you're going to sites that are not under our purview.
Right. And you can easily accomplish that with
a config file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can do it system wide, and that is a perfect example. I've got a whole bunch of per host Etsy SSH. The include directory is like hostname.conf. I have hostname and I specify the port in it.
Yeah. So, but this is SSHD.
You want that's the port you
Hold
want.
on. So for the recording or for the notes here, we're saying that we're gonna take the SSH conf and it's gonna wipe out that port 2206 change, and we're okay with that, right? That's what I'm putting in the notes.
I would say it as the SSH client config file.
Right.
Because
Okay.
we're now looking at the SSH server configuration file.
So now if we take the SSH server configuration, we want to install.
I wonder what the do a three-way merge is.
Sorting them out manually.
Thanks.
No, no.
Okay, so where's the conflicts?
It's separate file. Hit the up, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Merge. :ls. Okay. I would swear. So it's listing a file that's not there, or is redoing SSH config, not SSHD config?
Well,
Just-
these are SSHD.
Right. What was your LS? You did an LS for SSH. Yeah, there it is. You probably want to take out that line that is equals and take out the commented out address family line. Do me a favor. Having trouble seeing that. Do a colon set space background equals dark. No actual space. Equals dark.
Hang on.
Okay. What? Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
So what is this gonna, well, okay, that's the only change.
Yeah, but you should have a line that was multiple equals and then
Yeah, he took that out already. I think he took out all the delimiters.
yeah, I thought it had multiple changes in
Yeah.
like multiple sets. Yeah, so oh, I had them backwards. Current versus new. Control R to redo. You can do it multiple times. So it was only one block, old and new. I mistook it as another block.
Yeah, that's it. We good?
Probably.
Or wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. So now we have to copy that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
You are going too fast. I could not copy that to the notes. A little bit too fast. There we go. Thank you. One sec.
And Gary's got some comments.
Okay, what was the line that we didn't change anything, right? Just remove. What did we do to that config file? We didn't do anything, right? We just removed the
We
diff stuff.
reinstated the alternate port and address family line and then cleaned up.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So at this point, we're going to keep the local version, right?
Yeah, I think so. So why didn't we get that curses interface for the client config file?
No idea.
Different teams.
Yeah.
Almost there, 99%.
And if this was a Windows file copy, now is when it would roll over the 32-bit counter and how long it was going to take.
Yeah. There any more beers in there? Was that the last one?
I've seen that. So it says warning: OS prober will be executed to detect other bootable partitions. It's like that's like warning. This thing will do the thing that it specifically does.
I think part of that, I've actually been on the other side where OS Prober was not run. And I think OS Prober is not always entirely safe to do in certain configurations.
Wow, that is one heck of a kernel difference.
Yep.
4.19 to 5.1.
Restart will not be handled automatically. Consider rebooting. We've changed a whole bunch of libraries. You know, the C library is different, but you should consider rebooting.
Isn't 6.6 out too for the kernel? So it's a lot newer, but it's still very old.
Yeah, but these are stables. 6 is not stable yet. That's still bleeding edge. All right, I'm going to go ahead and skip all the restarts since we're going to reboot anyway.
When is 11 end of life? Another 2 years or?
Let me look it up. Lee, you focus on that. I'll find an answer.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this because I'm just going to go ahead and reboot.
It's fine. I can look it up.
Sean, copy anything else while I reboot?
No, Debian 11 Bullseye will reach EOL sometime around July 2024.
Hmm.
Oh,
What? When was 10 on that list?
hang on, I don't know. I think that was an automatically generated answer. Uh,
Do we
yeah, it was.
Says August 2026.
Yeah.
For 11?
Yeah,
Okay, so that's
Oh.
2 years.
yeah, 2 years.
Wow. Google AI, you are wrong. Debian project currently estimates that Debian 11 Bullseye will reach EOL end of life sometime around July 2024, approximately 2 months from now.
That's Cube's OS that does that, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to believe that AI shit?
That's kind of
Had anybody else using, I think it's UDM equals 14 query parameter for Google to disable most of the AI?
No. It's not worth my time to play with it.
Well, it makes Google free AI Google.
Mm.
All right, let's reboot. I want to see the fireworks. I want to see the. I want to see if we're
Get on
come back
console
up
so
or
you
not.
can see the reboot there.
Oh yeah, we need a non SSH console, don't we?
Hopefully not.
There's a man with confidence. This is what comes when the pilot of the airplane isn't wearing a parachute. Parachute? We don't need no stinking parachutes. This is why I like flying in the jump plane, you know, if we're all wearing parachutes, we know what we're doing here.
So Lee, we're now looking at virtual machine viewer for the Zen,
Yes, sir.
correct? Okay.
Vert Manager.
Yep.
And then I just double clicked on Bach 2 and it is now running. So let's see if we got our SSH back. Yep. And we are on Bullseye.
And see if Mailman is running.
And what do we got here? We have Firewall D, we have Spam Assassin, MAV, Postgre, NTPA started, which is the Nagios plugin that I installed. Dovecot, FreshClam, NameD.
So if you're running Dovecot, are you exposing IMAP or POP3 or their secure variants to the internet?
Yes.
I would update our list where it says email to probably list those as well.
Sean, are you in the wiki?
I just saved it. Go ahead.
Okay. Where was that section?
Yeah, postfix and Dovecot. Found the section. Now you got to find the section again.
Where is that? Yeah, that's the edit. Here we go. What was the other one you suggested?
Dovecot is both POP3 and IMAP, I assume. So.
It's also widely used for Sassel.
I would consider it an SASL consumer, not an SASL provider.
So it provides it for postfix.
Okay,
You okay with that?
I'm good.
I don't mean to get off track on the technicalities or anything. I'm just
No, I'm
drowsy.
very curious on it.
Was there another change we need to make here?
No, I think that's probably good.
Okay. All right, so we should be able to take those notes and upgrade Bach once we get a few more eyes on here to make sure everything's working right.
I would recommend.
Yeah, what's going to be the testing parameters for testing everything on this? You're gonna have to enable the email server or just the list server, or I mean, Apache you can just test with like curl or stuff, right?
You should be able to hit the IP address and get invalid page.
Bach, what was it?
Bach 2, wasn't it?
God damn it. Freaking Zoom, what the fuck is your problem with?
So is Python v2 installed, or is this the version where they started to ditch it?
I think it has to be if Mailman version 2 is running.
God,
2.7.16 is installed.
I am going to jump in with, that's not it, where's my,
Sean, can you get a copy of the sources list file as we have it now?
Sure.
Because my normal SOP would be after sleeping, make a new clone of Bach. So we're back to where we were 2 to 3 hours ago, and follow the notes as we have them on another test to make sure we know the answers for everything, like do we want new or old, etc.
we can't run Bach as a clone though.
No, I'm saying do what you did on the last 48 hours a second time. So create a new clone of Bach, make it Bach 3 or overwrite Bach 2 as it is, and then test the notes that have been made on that new clone.
Okay. That makes sense to you, Sean, so you can document it?
I'm sorry, I'm copying something in. What were we saying?
Finish
Doing
your
another dry run for, and what the added information that we have from this dry run.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, the notes are in there, so shouldn't have any problem doing that. I mean, I don't know. The notes I took are the notes I took. Hopefully they're good enough.
It pisses me off that Firefox doesn't like Zoom. Okay, bach2.slug.org works.
Do you get the generic default virtual host invalid page?
Yes.
Cool.
So. So Apache's running, it's resolving. If we wanted to test it, anybody could test it by, anybody know how to do it?
Yeah.
So when to do it?
Except I'm on my work computer that I don't have admin access to.
Yeah.
I can turn around and do it on my personal.
So basically what you can do in your host file, okay, create your own local DNS for the 2 domains you want to test with. And when you save that and go back down here to here,
New host.
I'm going to get slug.org. Although that's not going to work.
When you save that, it came up good here.
I can share and show if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead, because the www is going to mess it up from where I'm doing it.
Yeah, give me a moment. Do you want to tail the
Good point. If I can find it.
fair enough. Zoom. Oh, I think my does anybody have the meeting ID handy, or I can get the URL again?
Oh.
What was your question?
What's the meeting, the Zoom meeting ID?
Okay,
I deleted them all. Hang on a second. You should be able to.
I think I have it.
Hang on a second. I got the invite here.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it.
I got it.
So why doesn't the invite tab, or no, it puts up this crap. You got it. Never mind.
Let me share screen. Yes.
I think it's other vhosts, right?
Yeah. Okay. Are you seeing my desktop, which has a small terminal window and a web browser?
Yes.
Cool. So, yeah, I can't go bigger font. I just added Bach2's IP address and made those 3 names resolve there. And I cycled my web browser. So, are you tailing the access log on Bach2?
Yep.
Okay.
Got them.
Cool. All right.
Firefox 115, kind of old.
Yeah,
And you are 71, 128, 21, 245, right?
sounds right. Okay. Any questions before I stop sharing?
So you have to rename the, or you have to put that local DNS in because the Apache is configured for the, slug.org or www.slug.org, right?
Correct. Apache is looking for the highlighted names,
Right.
and DNS is resolving those to primary Bach. So I added an Etsy hosts entry to say those names resolve back to Bach2's IP address.
Right. Which is why you can't just do it by IP address, because it has to send the names over
Right.
Correct.
for the Apache, yeah.
But there's one caveat there. Second step now is to put that on a sticky note and put it on your monitor. So 3 days from now, if you want to go to the live STLLUG.org, you don't end up in the wrong place.
So you put something in the issue file?
No, the Etsy hosts file.
That's the, you know,
I'm a little bit surprised SSL or yeah, TLS was still working there. I thought we'd get some like cross origin stuff, but
No, because I was using the real name www.slug.org, which is what the common name in the certificate contains, amongst other things.
And Bach 2 has the exact same
Right. I
Right.
just overrode DNS.
overrode the IP address,
Yep.
which the certificate does not, which the SSL cert does not check. It assumes DNS is right.
Correct.
this is Stan. My question is, am I understanding that there's a separate IP number for Bach 2?
Yes, that is
Yeah.
correct.
Bach
Okay,
2 is
then that makes
211, Bach
sense.
is 210.
Say again, Stan.
That makes sense now that you've told me that there's a different IP number. I missed that point somehow.
Yeah, I think Lee mentioned it when he actually took the clone and we started this process 2 or 3 months ago. So that was player knowledge, and so
Well, I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
breakfast. What's
How about
that?
lunch? Gary can't remember what he had for dinner.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
Do you have dinner?
Did I?
Did it?
Oh, darn.
I didn't get a delivery.
There's trash down there.
Oh, okay.
So if I have time, I can start testing this clone, right?
You certainly can. Just make your host file so that you resolve whatever domain you want to test locally, and you don't hit DNS, so that whenever you put slug.org in your browser, you get the 211 from your local host file.
Right, I understand it now.
Okay. Anybody else? Well, since it's almost the witching hour of 9 o'clock, why don't we wrap it for tonight, and we'll continue our discussions on sysadmin, get other people involved in testing, and then, maybe hope not too distant future, I'll clone Bach again. We can do the updates and possibly shut Bach down temporarily, do the updates, and if it works, we'll swap them.
We'll talk about it on sysadmin, I'm sure, but I am happy to do MX relay. That way, email inbound to slug.org, etc. will queue in something we control instead of depending on other systems. And while Bach is down, and when it comes back up, send any email further on to Bach.
So when's the go live date? Because we have 10 days left.
Oh, no, that's just the end of support. I mean, we probably got the end of July before we have to worry about it. But no, back to what you were saying, Grant. How would that work with all of the security today? Because Bach 2's IP would have to be in the TXT record. And, it would have, and then you would have to replicate that.
No,
Replicate your
what
MX.
I'm talking about is you would add my server as a lower priority slash higher number mail exchanger or MX record, and I would configure my server to allow relay for slug.org. So while Bach is offline, DNS would say, oh, there's this backup server over here at TNet. You can send it there. TNet knows how to get it to Bach.
Yeah, but how is the email going to your MX record going to validate?
Validation is on outbound.
Right.
I'm
So if Google is sending email to slug.org, how is it going to be accepted by your server? Because it won't be on the SPF record, it won't match the DKIM.
That's SPF and DKIM are for inbound. For you for sending from Slug out to the world. MX records are used for routing inbound email. So you would add my server as a backup MX. I would tell my server it's allowed to relay. So Google would say, I want to deliver to slug.org. Hey, box down. There's this other server. I can get to it. It's willing to accept it. Thank you. Have a nice day. We don't need to worry about SPF or DKIM or anything else like that because I would not be sending email as slug.org. Think of it as I'm your next door neighbor picking up your email while you're on vacation. And when you come back online, I hand all your email to you.
It's not the concept, it's authentication. The issue is Google has turned into such a bitch this year. And
the authentication is for when you send as slug.org.
So if Google is sending to slug.org, it expects to authenticate with slug.org. How would it deliver mail to an MX record that does not carry the same credentials?
SPF, DKIM, and DMARC are for receiving email from slug.org.
But Google won't send to slug.org unless that recipient is listed in the SPF record.
Nope, you've got it backwards.
No, that's required because we had to do it.
So you could send to Google. We would not be sending email.
You can send to Google without Google being in your SPF record.
Right.
But you can't receive email from Google unless Google is in your SPF record.
Wrong. Nope.
That's not an SPF record.
Hang on.
That's Google site verification. That's an SPF record. And the fact you have MX and my server's an MX, I would be SPF validated. So I'm saying you've got Bach slug org as MX of weight of 10. You would add my server as MX of 25 or 99 or whatever.
Yeah.
So people trying to send to slug.org, if they can't reach Bach while it's down, they would go, oh, there's this other server. I can send email to it.
No, it's not the concept I'm questioning, it's the authentication, but we can take that offline. Because like I say, I'm gun shy with all this crap we've been going through for the last year with Google.
SPF is for when you send email claiming to be from slug.org, as is DKIM, as is DMARC. So when you send something from Google by way of my server, it would actually show up as from something at Google.
So you're saying the only authentication anybody needs to send to your domain is for that server to be listed as an MX?
No, that is for receiving email from slug.org. That is for outbound email.
No, for inbound email, if Google is sending to slug.org, you're saying that the only authentication Google requires to send that email is the MX listing.
Correct.
Okay.
SPF doesn't matter.
But when slug.org gets that email from a server that is not Google, does that not invalidate the transaction?
There's a piece I have not said. Bach would be validating the envelope address. My server includes sender rewriting scheme for the envelope. So the email that it forwards to you would actually have an envelope as user address equals google.com at tncservo6.tnetconsulting.net. But the from headers and everything else would still be valid. And it will come in and validate, and it will pass filtering.
Okay.
And we can, if you want, you can add an MX record, and I can make a change on my system, and we can test it completely independent before anything is done with Bach.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, we can work that out on sysadmin.
Okay.
But for now, I think we can wrap for tonight. And Sean's got good notes, which we'll be looking at shortly. And unless anybody else has any other questions or discussion, open mic.
Yeah, I have one thing if we have a little extra time.
Shoot.
All right, let me share my screen again, please. It's switching topics a little bit, but let's see. So so I've been more busy than I've been ever lately, but I've still been working on the website, the new website project that I started, I feel like forever ago now. I've still been plugging away at it here and there when I can get a few minutes. And what I've done recently over the past couple of weeks is I've created this other repo that basically is a script that will do what I demonstrated a while back when I did the RAG demo. So basically we can run this script and we can feed it in the meeting data, and it'll generate some tweets, some YouTube titles, and some images. And I have documentation here for like how to run the script. So you're going to have have Node.js installed. You're going to have an API key for OpenAI. And then it costs roughly 15 cents every time we run it in OpenAI costs. But I think what this will do is this will kind of generate data that will feed into the website is what I'm hoping. And so let me show, and I don't need to go super in depth here, but I want to show a little bit. So like here's an example of a STLLUG meeting. Let me see if I can turn on wrapping. So here's an example of a STLLUG meeting, and this thing is very in my way. There it goes. Okay. So all that's required to type in here is the title, the presenter, and the abstract. That's all that's required under this presentations. But you can provide like references or like preferably the meetup URL. So this is the information for a STLLUG meeting from January 13th, 2021. And basically what I can do is I can run this through the script by running, let me make this bigger just in case. npm start test data. Sorry, it's getting late over here. Okay, so I'm gonna run this through the script to have it generate the things for this January 2021 meeting. Hopefully I have this set up right. I'm doing this on a different computer than I've been doing it on all week, so hopefully it works. But here I have some output. So this this command also takes a -v flag for verbose, where it'll print out a lot of stuff. But by default, it'll just print out basically every time it's calling the OpenAI API, just so you can see your, what's going to cost you money. And so the first thing it does is it generates tags. So if you remember when I showed you the website, we can tag our different presentations and then it kind of groups them under tags. So first it's going to generate tags for however many presentations there are in the meeting. Then it's going to generate tweets for the meeting. Then it's going to generate several YouTube titles. Then it's going to generate some design ideas for the image. And then it's going to take those design ideas and it's going to send them to OpenAI to generate the actual images from the designs. And then lastly, it's going to resize the images down to 1280 by 720 because that's the best size for a YouTube thumbnail. And also this shrinks it from like 5 megabytes down to a few hundred kilobytes, which is good too. And then at the very end, it outputs a JSON file to the dist directory, as well as, and see how now it has all this extra stuff, right? There's a lot more stuff than what was there before. So let's take a look at what was generated. So there's going to be some images. So this presentation is about Lee made a Raspberry Pi MP3 player, so like a handheld music box. So the images are kind of related to that. So here's like the Raspberry Pi logo with some music logos around. The other presentation was about a command line utility called where is, which is extremely hard to generate a graphic for, but you can see here it did its best to try to come up with something. And here is, I think it's trying to do like a mix of the two. So it's trying to, yeah, kind of do a mix of the two. And so these are some images that we could use for the YouTube thumbnail or for the new website. And then also here is the much fuller JSON file. And so the first thing it generated was tags. And so for this where is topic, I think customization is pretty good and scripting. Those are pretty good, I think, tags for this one. And then it has some tweets. I think I showed this off before, where it'll, what we can do is after we generate this, maybe some human will read through these and pick the best one and copy and paste it into Twitter and post it, something like that. And then it did the same thing for the other presentation. So here it picked Raspberry Pi and music player as the tags. I think those are decent as well. And once again, more tweets. And then down here is a bunch of YouTube titles that we can choose from. And once again, the human, a human can come in here and kind of like, instead of coming up with a YouTube title, you can just kind of copy one of these and use it. And then here's the image declarations for the images. So that way, when they're embedded on the site, they'll have like an alt text that kind of describes the image and all that. Anyway, so this is what I've been working on. And now the next step is kind of refactoring the site to basically take this generated JSON file and display this all, nicely and neatly and professionally, and then it'll do the RSS feed and all that stuff as well. And so that's kind of the next step, is now that I have this, then I can start going in here, and like you can see, I've done these two already. I've done the first two meetings of 2021 and here where it has the new thumbnail. Here, let me edit this one. So you can see that it has one of the images for the thumbnail. It has the title from ChatGPT, and then in here I just copy and pasted the title, the presenter, and the abstract into this part because I figure that might help people that are searching for the video. And so basically I've kind of proven this out on the first couple is what I've done. And then my plan, like I said, this week is to make it work with the website and then just keep doing all the ones on 2021 and keep moving forward from there. So yeah, okay, so that's pretty much it. Don't want to take up too much time, but just wanted to show the progress that I haven't given up on this. It's still moving along. So
That is awesome stuff.
I second the motion.
Impressive. Technical question. The stuff to put on the new website, are you planning on having details for each thing in separate JSON files, or are you doing client-side content generation from the JSON files, or are you going to do something where you're back to the venerable fried versus baked website where it's not going to require client-side processing?
yeah, so so what Astro does, well, okay, so I use Astro for the website, and it uses static, it's basically a static site generator, right? So it's going to take those JSON files, it's going to feed that data into some React style components, and then it's going to create static HTML files from that. And then those will be put on a web server and served out that way. There will be some client-side JavaScript because I do want to embed the YouTube video in the page. And I'm
Right.
also probably going to need some client-side JavaScript for things like navigation, drop-down menus and stuff
Yeah.
if we get there. But for the most part, I'm going to statically generate as much as I possibly can.
I'm cool with that. I just didn't want to see an XHTML request for the JSON file for each video and having to pull in 20 or 30 for a page and client-side amalgamation, but your static site generator accounts for that.
It's been fun trying to figure out. So the challenging part, I mean, I guess, well, I don't want to show it, but, or I could show it if anybody's interested, but the challenging part was getting, you know, these AIs to give me JSON back. That was the challenging part because, you know, they're so talkative, you know, all these AIs, and getting them to reliably produce JSON, like give me 3 tweets, right? Well, how do I know if they gave me 3 tweets? Well, I need it to be like in a JSON array, right? With proper double quote strings and commas between the strings and all that, right? That's how I know it gave me 3 tweets back. And so it's kind of the way that you do that, at least with OpenAI, is you tell the AI, hey, call this function, this tool, right? Call my function. And oh, by the way, this function takes in an argument of array of strings, exactly 3 strings. And so I'm able to specify the schema that I want OpenAI to generate, and it will generate that schema and then call my function. And really, my function doesn't do much of anything. It's just I'm using the function part of it to make OpenAI produce conformant JSON. It's kind of neat. It's kind of a hacky workaround, but at the same time, it's kind of powerful too.
I love it. And the question is, we get somebody else to use it.
I have a
Fantastic,
question.
Sean. Good job.
Really nice.
Gonna keep working it. I heard somebody had a question.
Yeah, my name's David. I actually come out of Orlando, but I heard about this presentation. I didn't get to see it. I see you got output to various things such as tweets and YouTube videos. What I'd be interested in having an output being MD5 or Markdown, so you could feed it into MediaWiki. Because I thought about if we got more steady presentations through GoLog a long time ago, you documented we didn't capture the type of information that this group captures in the way of transcripts of the meetings or recording. A lot of our members didn't want the meetings recorded if they participated, but MediaWiki was where I wanted to, because it already started for meeting presentations, so multiple people could submit information for future meetings, their details, as opposed to a static website, because we didn't have anybody volunteer to be a permanent webmaster. I volunteered to maintain the back end of it and keep it running. So how much did you generate all this, or the code that generates it? And what would it take to generate some sort of markdown that would go into a wiki?
Yeah, certainly. And I really went back and forth with this. Let me share my screen again. So I went back and forth with this for a long time, because one of the things that Astro supports is doing MDX files. And basically the MDX files are markdown, where you can put headings, and they're actually MDX files, which means you can even put JavaScript, or sorry, yeah, web components in there too, like React style JSX components in the markdown as well. And that's super cool. But what I got to thinking was, okay, let's say that we create one markdown file for each meeting, right? And then let's say we're 5 years down the road and we have, what do we have? Like 2 meetings a month. So then we got, a lot of markdown files, right? And let's say we want to add a new thing on every page, like some new element or some new, thing on every single page. Well, we'd have to go back and we'd have to modify hundreds of markdown files, right? And so that didn't quite sit as well with me. That, along with the fact that the data from meeting to meeting is exactly the same, like that YAML file is flexible enough where I think it's going to be good for forever, for all of our meetings. And so what I decided was using the JSON would be better, because we wouldn't have hundreds of MDX files that we might have to modify one by one at some point in the future if we wanted to add something to all the pages. But I wrote a very extensive document here, weighing the pros and cons of all of those, and I'll put that in the chat.
The way that I was going to organize it, because we maintained the MediaWiki manually, was we wouldn't have a markdown file for every presentation. I simply had it be in reverse chronological order. The top of the MediaWiki page was the next coming meeting, and every month everything just scrolled down. And then when it got to be about 14 years worth of data, then I was going to split it even more into years. The only time I'd come up with a new Wikipedia page, right, would be when a new year rolled around. So the top page of the MediaWiki was just the current history of the year. And then if somebody wanted to search back through previous year's presentations, then they would have to use the wiki and then going to the year that they were interested in and looking. But it gave us a snapshot of who presented, and if they had any materials, then we could archive that on the manual, or a more static website with just links from the MediaWiki for PowerPoint slides or whatever, or slideshows.
Yeah,
But
and I mean that sounds like a good way to do it. I don't see any problem with that if that fits your guys' workflow, then that sounds great, but yeah, for sure.
okay,
This is kind of the way that I envisioned, and I have not updated this in several weeks. I've been working on that backend stuff, but this is using Astro. And so here you see I have a list of several of the meetings. And then if you click on it, you're taken to a page with like the YouTube embed and then the details about that meeting. And then if you click on like the presenter's name here, you're taken to the presenters page and all of the talks that they've ever given. And then also there's tags. So if I wanted to see all the talks about like Kubernetes, where's Kubernetes? Then I could click on that tag and I see all the talks about Kubernetes. Or you see this has a search bar here too. So this is kind of cool because it's a static site, but we can still search it. So if I searched for, I don't know, it's late at night, I'm not being very creative. If I search for Kubernetes, then you see that it's finding it, you know, in the different posts and stuff. So so this is kind of what we went with, and this is something where Ed helped. Ed really helped port all of the presenters from the old site to the new site. So we have all those loaded in. So if Ed's watching this after the fact or something, thank you for that contribution. But just, yeah. And like I said, this is what I'm gonna get back to. And also pagination here. Oh, well, thought so. Got found a bug. But anyway, this is what I want to get back to is back to the front end work now that I have the back end kind of set up, laid out. And then what I was thinking is once I get this in a good spot for us, I think I could probably, like, it's obviously going to be open source, right? So if there's any other lugs that want a similar thing, maybe with just like their logos and their theme or whatever, it should be fairly simple to do that. And I'm willing to help other lugs too if this is something that they're interested in. So
I'll be keeping an eye on it. Yes.
Minor comment, Sean. You would have something that would convert from the markdown to the HTML served up on the server, correct?
yeah, so Astro can take either Markdown or JSON or YAML and convert those to static pages. Yeah.
With the way I've done things with my website, I'm happy to go into it some other point. Each individual page is basically its content and 2 or 3 wrapper lines above and below. And all the menus and everything else are separate pages that the server puts in place, and it is static HTML. So I don't think you would likely have to edit a whole bunch of files if you did the markdown to HTML integration in the server properly.
Right. And I agree with you if you don't put anything in the middle, right? Like if you only add the dynamic stuff or the common stuff at the top and bottom, then I agree with you. But what the MDX does is it allows you to put that dynamic content intermixed between your content, right? So so like for example, if we well, I don't have, like I said, it's late at night.
Right.
You know, but that's what the MDX allows you to do is put dynamic content in, but you know, in the middle of your body instead of just at the top and bottom. And so that's the parts where if we wanted to add something new in the middle, we'd have to do that on every page because you can't just insert stuff in the middle without literally, you know, inserting it on every single file. So
Okay.
that's where I was coming at it from.
John, this is Stan. What you've just done would have made a good show and tell base session for next SLUG meeting.
Too late. I already showed
I've
it.
already got my hand up in the air for a base next month.
Oh, there we go.
Is the upgrade of Bach going to involve upgrading the mailing list to Mailman
This
3?
is just we end the meeting.
Just wanted
Eventually,
to clarify.
not.
Gary fall asleep?
No, Grant's trying to ask a question, I think.
No, I'm trying to answer one. The question is, does the upgrade of Bach involve also upgrading Mailman? In the long term, yes. In the short term, no. It was decided to do a Debian 10 to 11 upgrade because Debian 11 supports Mailman version 2. And once we're on Debian 11, while still running Mailman 2, we could then split and just do the OS upgrade 10 to 11. Once we're stable on 11, then we can focus on a Mailman upgrade from Mailman version 2, Python v2 to Mailman 3, Python v3. And then once we have upgraded to Mailman v3 and converted archives and everything else, then we can look at going from Debian 11 up to Debian 12 in the coming months. And I'm guessing that's the next 9 to 18 months. Steve or Lee, did I summarize that properly?
Yeah, sounds good.
Did
Sounds
that,
like fun to me.
did that answer the question about Mailman?
Gotcha. Thanks. Yep.
Very, very good. Let's see. I've got one kind of traditional question. For those of you who either have never been to one of our meetings before or have come tonight for the first time in some months, we're just curious, what brought you here tonight? Did you see us in Meetup, or surfing around the web and found our homepage, or looking on our calendar, or somebody invited you? So anybody, no, I'll put anybody on the spot, but if you first time here or haven't been here in a while, why'd you come?
I'll answer that since I'm from out of town. I didn't come here initially for this. I seen a cross post about a meeting for your Unix users group in the presentation of history of computers, and that's what drew me to the group. Then I seen you had a new users Linux group in this, so I was going to check out each one of them and see what they were like.
Excellent.
Great, thank you. And you saw that where?
I think it was just cross posted in between the various mail lists I was on, but I've attended other groups in the past, and it varied on what I thought of the group on, because the user groups have sort of died, but they haven't really gone away. They found their little niche on which they do better than everybody, as well as anybody else, and they're still existing. And I'm very happy about that. My past, I seen stuff that worked well, and as long as the core group that had the strong interest stuck around, because I'm also an amateur radio guy, and I've been a ham since about 91, and I've gone through 3 phases of ham radio in the local area, depending on who stepped forward, volunteered, and what group they ran and how long they lasted.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Anybody else want to volunteer an answer to why'd you come?
I'll give the answer of why I started however many months ago. And that is I follow Michael W. Lucas on previously Twitter, now the Fediverse. And he mentioned he was doing a presentation, which I'm interested in watching his presentations. Bonus, it was Unix users group in the town I happen to live in. Even more bonus, they have a Linux users group. So here I am. You're gonna have to kick me real hard to get me to go away.
Certainly don't want you to go away. So. All right. Let's see. As I don't want to draw things out, has anybody got anything that they really, really, really would like to get an answer to yet tonight? And we're going to disallow the question of what's the winning lottery number. Okay, hearing nobody.
It's allowing that question.
Okay. In that case, I think Stan wants to close the recording. If anybody has any other final comments, if not, I'll put a bookend on the recording. Okay, this has been the Thursday, 20 June 2024 meeting of the St. Louis Linux Users Group, the St. Louis LUG. Our speaker tonight has been Lee Lammert and a host of other volunteers who've been discussing how we can upgrade our box server, one of our main machines. We're trying to upgrade from Debian 10 to Debian 12. And we've had a number of good contributors tonight. Certainly Grant has been a really, really big contributor to some of this. The write-up was done by Mike Knight. And we really appreciate that. Thank you, Mike. And all of you have asked good questions and made great comments. So thank you all and good night. End recording.